Zdraveite, dobry den, and welcome to the latest episode of my vlog. We're here in Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria. It's beautiful. It's my first time in Bulgaria. I'm so excited, and I'm going to show you in this vlog episode why you should come and explore this wonderful city. Let's start at Knyazhka Gardens, which is very close to Sofia University. Now, when I was growing up in the 80s, my impression of Bulgaria was that it was a communist country with very strict rules, very strict censorship, very cold, a lot of snow on the ground, and plenty of communist-era type monuments. Knyazhka Gardens certainly lived up to a lot of those expectations. Sofia University is made up of some really grand-looking buildings, and you can feel free to have a wander around the campus. I visited Sofia in early February, and as you can see, there was plenty of snow on the ground, and yes, it was very cold. So if you are visiting Sofia at this time of the year, do wrap up warm and wear appropriate footwear for trudging through the snow. All tourists who come to Sofia will visit the Alexander Nevsky Cathedral. Completed in 1912, this is actually not the oldest building in Sofia, not by a very long way. But it is the grandest of all Orthodox-style churches in Bulgaria. And whilst, of course, you can visit much older, much more traditional Neo-Byzantine-style churches in Sofia and in other parts of Bulgaria, nothing can match Alexander Nevsky in terms of its sheer size and grandeur, and everything else may pale in comparison. Watching the changing of the President's guards is another favorite with the tourists in Sofia. And as you can see, yes, I only have 3 soldiers in uniform doing the parade at the moment, but this happens every half an hour, and if you really like this kind of thing, be here on the first Wednesday of the month at 12 noon, where you can see a much grander ceremony of the official changing of the guards, complete with music, shouting, weapon brandishing, the full works. After you have watched the changing of the guards, go through those arches and you will come through to an amazing archaeological site centered around St. George's Rotunda, or in Bulgarian, Rotunda Sveti Georgi. This is a rotunda that was built in the 4th century by the Romans, and you can feel free to wander around the archaeological site. Be careful as it can be slippery when icy. One of the causes for the ancient city of Sofia to emerge is the very large number of mineral water springs in the area. Local residents can bring big bottles to collect this mineral water in such points all across the city. The water comes out quite warm even in the middle of winter. Another must-see tourist attraction in Sofia is the Sofia Synagogue, built in 1909, making it approximately the same age as the Alexander Nevsky Cathedral. Bulgaria once had a thriving Jewish community with just under 50,000 Jews in all of Bulgaria before the outbreak of World War II. The Jewish population was decimated with the German invasion in World War II, and many Jews in the communist era chose to leave for Israel. Today, there are approximately 2,000 Jews left in Bulgaria, and the Sofia Synagogue remains the heart of the Jewish community in Bulgaria. When you visit Sofia, you will hear the name Serdica everywhere. There is a metro station called Serdica, there is a hotel Serdica, there's even a mall called Serdica Center. This is because this is the ancient name of the city of Sofia. Dating back to over 2000 BC, these amazing ruins have been lovingly preserved by the archaeologists, and today you can walk around these ruins, which are everywhere under the modern city of Sofia. This is because Sofia is built above the site of the ancient city of Serdica, and so archaeologists know that if you dig, you can find the ruins, the remains of this ancient city. It does remind me a lot of Rome, and you can find similarly ancient, gorgeous, beautifully remained ruins like this in the middle of Rome as well. Like so many other cities in the area, from Rome to Athens to Istanbul, Sofia is definitely equally fascinating when it comes to its rich historical heritage. Many tourist guides will point you towards the Sofia Central Market Hall, which I visited as well. And okay, it's interesting enough, there are lots of stalls selling local produce, but the prices here are by no means cheap and there are no bargains to be had. It's a bit of a tourist trap, I'm afraid. Located right next to Serdica metro station is the magnificent Banya Bashi Mosque, completed in 1576. This mosque is lovingly preserved, and even when I was there were workmen doing restorations and renovations to keep this mosque looking very good indeed. So you can't actually tell just how old this mosque actually is. It is quite exquisite on the inside, if not a little small when you compare it to some of the other mosques that one might encounter in the Middle East or in North Africa. Another major tourist attraction, very close to Serdica station and at the top of Vitosha Boulevard, is the Sveta Nedelya Cathedral. Completed in 1867, this magnificent, impressive cathedral is in fact older than Alexander Nevsky Cathedral. The name of the church in Bulgarian translates to Holy Sunday Church or Saint Sunday Church. The church has incredibly survived many bombings, wars, and even earthquakes, and it has been restored and renovated many times. So what you see today is in fact a combination of both the ancient and the new. Many people will point you towards Vitosha Boulevard as the heart of downtown Sofia for shopping and entertainment, but nah, it's overrated. I much prefer Pirotska Street instead, where you get much better shops. Located between Vitosha Boulevard and the NDK building is the 1300 years monument. Now, this is one of those monuments which are so bad you just have to see it. Unveiled in 1981 during the coldest, darkest communist era in Bulgaria's history, nobody quite knows what to do with it today, and it is slowly falling apart and crumbling. After you have seen the major sites in Central Sofia, why not check out some of the parks of Sofia, such as the Borisova Gradina Park. These parks are beautiful at any time of the year, but in winter, when there is plenty of snow on the ground, it transforms the park into a kind of wonderful winter wonderland. However, if you intend to go walking through the snow like this, be sure that you have appropriate footwear. You need something which is fairly waterproof. Now, not necessarily rubber boots, but snow can melt quite quickly when walked upon, and what you don't want is to get wet shoes when walking in the snow. And look, there is a man doing some cross-country skiing. What I loved about this park is that, like all respectable Bulgarian parks, there is always this great big massive communist era type monument. We cannot neglect the period of Bulgaria's history when Bulgaria was a communist country from 1946 to the fall of communism at the very end of 1989. Now, the Museum of Socialist Art in Sofia is a very interesting place for you to visit if you are indeed interested in this period of Bulgarian history. From my experience here, I think this museum neither condemns nor glorifies that communist era. However, you get to see many of the statues and indeed the propaganda art that was used in the communist era here. Obviously, these statues and these objects of art have been removed from the public sphere in Bulgaria because it is no longer a communist country, and it is in fact a thriving democracy and a proud member of the European Union today. If you are after a museum that will show you just how ghastly and utterly despicable and evil communism can be, you are not going to find it in Sofia, I'm afraid. You will, however, find it in cities like Vilnius in Lithuania, Prague in the Czech Republic, and of course in Berlin in Germany. The purpose of this museum, therefore, is not so much to educate or to condemn, but to merely show you what some of the pieces of art were used in the purpose of propaganda back in the communist era, and you are free to make up your own mind and come to your own conclusions about what you see here. Everything is thankfully posted in both Bulgarian and English, and that really reflects the fact that it is mostly tourists who want to come to museums like that these days. When I was there, I was only surrounded by other tourists who were interested in this aspect of Bulgarian history, whilst I hardly saw any locals who were there that afternoon. One of the more interesting buildings to visit in Sofia is the National Library. Now, a lot of people merely stand in front of the library and take photos, but you can indeed access the building. It is open to the public and it is free to visit. There are also plenty of exhibitions within the library for you to visit, and whilst most of the books will of course be in Bulgarian, feel free to walk around and just soak in the atmosphere in a building that looks as if it's not changed much at all since the communist era. Admittedly, whilst I was in Sofia, there was a huge language barrier, as very few locals actually spoke any English at all, despite English being the default foreign language that most Bulgarians would have studied a little at school. However, it doesn't mean that the locals are not friendly. They are extremely warm, and if you make an effort to speak some Bulgarian with them, they will most certainly reciprocate even if they can't speak any English. As you can see, the coffee bar underneath the National Library has a great atmosphere, and it is a perfect place for you to have a coffee break. I was very impressed by the public transport system in Sofia, in particular the Sofia metro, which conveniently runs all the way to the airport. A single ticket on the metro system will cost you 1.6 lev, and that is about 80 euro cents, or you can get a day ticket for 4 Bulgarian levs, which is approximately 2 euros. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching this episode of my vlog, and do come and visit Sofia soon. Mnogo blagodarya, do vijdane. Many thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode of my vlog.